Hi, I'm Josh McGill, and for my book executive summary number 2, I chose to read Sean Hannity's book, Conservative Victory. In this book, he discusses many problems with President Obama's current administration and his policies, his um, socialist reforms, his Marxist activism. He also discusses a lot of the problems within the GOP, the Republican Party, and how there's such disunity in the party right now, and that's one of our biggest problems. He talks about how conservatives need to band together, clean up the Republican Party, because that's the only way that the conservatives are going to be able to defeat Obama's radical agenda, which is what it says on the bottom here. So that was kind of like the focus of his book, was more actually directed towards problems within the Republican Party and the disunity there. And then it also touched up on a lot of different policies that Obama had, and rather than just throw them all, throw all the ideas out the window, he kind of like analyzes them and explains them, and then you kind of get to draw your own conclusions from it. I mean, the book is very biased. There's some stuff in it that seems, I don't know, far-fetched isn't the right word, because he's using a lot of facts to back it up, but a lot of it's just, you can hear the opinion in it when you read it, um, but I mean, it was all in all like really helpful to it makes you think, like it makes you look at some of what Obama's doing, and he uses a lot of like references from history and stuff to try to, you know, like to compare him to like what's going on now with Obama's agenda. He uses a lot of like theology from Ronald Reagan and stuff, and talks about Ronald Reagan's policies and how they worked and how they could apply to today's economy and today's economy, I guess. He talks about a lot of different things. One of the things I really liked in it was he was talking about the healthcare, like government-run healthcare, and how that's kind of, against our capitalist economy, because in our economy is driven by competition, and we learned about that in class, and how like competitive pricing and stuff, and if something's run by the government, it kind of takes the competition out of the business. Like now it's, a highly the healthcare industry is a highly competitive business that causes a lot of markups and stuff that people might disagree with. But I mean, you can't. I don't know. You can't hate it because it's capitalism. He compared it in the book to like other government-run organizations, and like makes you think about it that way. Uh, TNT is run as like a government-run thing, and like how efficiently does that run? There's no incentive, because if you have a government job and you're guaranteed by the government's not gonna just fire you for no reason. You're getting paid well, and you're not getting paid based on how many people you help or how many customers you serve. You're getting paid the same amount no matter what. So you have no reason to strive. You're not trying to. You have no sense of like pride in your company or anything. Like in some ways, a lot of people persevere in their job because they almost have a pride for their company. You're doing something for the better of the company, for the betterment of the company, and if it's government run, you don't have that. Like, oh, if I sell 3 more healthcare plans today, the government's going to be so much richer. No, like, so it takes a lot of the competition out of that. And Sean Hannity talks about that and how government-run healthcare is not going to help anything. It's going to hurt things. It's going to tear down a giant section of our capitalist economy. And he also talks about how like President Obama isn't following through with a lot of his stuff. Like, in the beginning, Obama was all like, "Oh, I'm going to change everything, change. This is what I'm going to do," and he talked about the bailout plan and how he's going to give all this money to bail the country out, and we didn't have anywhere for the money to come from. Like, the country was already broke. You can't just print new money and be like, "Oh, okay, look, I printed $900 billion, and I'm gonna just bail all these people out," And the idea of capitalism, if the company's failing, I mean, they're failing. Like, you don't, by bailing them out and giving them more money, you're throwing off the balance of the whole economy. And an economy is supposed to have booms and busts, and then if the government just subsidizes money into the company, it's going to hurt the competition that wasn't failing. So, if Obama gave a bunch of money to Chevy, like he did, but then Ford didn't need the bailout money, so Ford didn't get the bailout money, so then he's giving Chevy an unfair advantage in their market economy because he thinks that they're a big company and they shouldn't fail. I mean, I know, like, part of it's in, like, oh, you're going to save the jobs, but where does that money come from, And I think Sean Hannity does a good job of talking about that and making you really think for yourself. Like, what is Obama doing here with our economy? And, like, has anything really gotten any better? Because another thing, like, that he touched on that I really enjoyed, because I am a conservative, and as a conservative, especially in a college town, like, there's a lot of people that, like, blame everything that's wrong with our economy on George W. Bush, and I'll be the first to admit, like, he definitely did some things wrong. And it was interesting because Sean Hannity actually called him out on that. Like, he called President Bush out on a lot of things and actually said that that was kind of where he thinks the Republican Party kind of started to get a lot of, like, started to divide. Partially because just a lot of bad decisions made, but also, like, one of the things he specifically talked about was the No Child Left Behind, because that was President Bush's, like, his prize thing that he was doing while he was in office, but then it's more of, like, a liberal policy to, throw money at a problem that's, like, to try to throw money at a problem, basically, to solve it, and to let the government have control over that. So I thought it was cool that he called Bush out and said that he did mess things up, but also that Obama's not doing anything to make them better, and I think that's really true. I mean, I think, yes, Bush did mess the country up somewhat, but I think that it doesn't do us any good to keep just blaming it on him now, like pointing the finger at a guy that's not president anymore. He doesn't care. Like, it does no one any good to blame him. And same thing now with Obama, though. I don't think blaming Obama is solving anything. But I am hitting my 10-minute mark, so thank you. It's a good book.